In 1997, Nintendo released this, the Game & Watch Gallery. It's a compilation of some of Nintendo's most popular Game & Watch games. Today, that's what we're talking about. This is Game & Watch Gallery. And what a way to start the game, just listen to that music. Now, even though the music's pretty good, another reason why this is so awesome is that Mario right there just pulled out a Game Boy and started playing on it. Now that's pretty cool. Another thing is, using the Super Game Boy, you can add color to the game. It even says it on the cartridge. Now, we're gonna play some Manhole. Well, pre-recorded me is anyways. First, we might as well go through the menu and see all the different little animations that Nintendo added to make it extra cool. Look at that little Bowser head chomping away. Look out, Mario, he's gonna get you. And now Yoshi's trying to eat the letter E. That silly goof. There are two modes, modern and classic, and two difficulty options, easy and hard. Let's start with hard classic Manhole. In Manhole, what you gotta do is get those little guys across to the other side. Now, you might think it's pretty simple. And it is, but that's the fun of it. It's a simple concept that gradually gets harder and harder. As you can see here, look at all those little guys. Now, we're on to fire. In this game, you have to bounce people who are falling out of a burning building into an ambulance. A simple and fun concept for a simple and fun game. Now, we're on to Octopus. In this game, you have to steal treasure from an octopus's treasure chest. But make sure he doesn't grab you. What I really like is how the fishermen or explorers in the boat represent how many lives you have left. It's really fun, but when I was using my Game Boy Advance SP, the controls were a little bit clunky. And the challenge doesn't really get any harder as the game progresses. Now, we're gonna play some Oil Panic. Another really cool feature about playing on the Super Game Boy is it shows you the controls for your Super Nintendo controller. Too bad couldn't use all 4 buttons though. Anyways, in Oil Panic, you're a guy with a bucket who has to catch oil falling out of a pipe. And you have to dump it out of your window. But wait, you can't just dump it onto the people below. There's a second person who moves back and forth along the second screen who you need to toss that oil to. The game does get progressively harder. Now, we're gonna play the modern version of Manhole. Even though I'm pretty sure Yoshi's tongue isn't normally that long, this game puts a fresh, fun new twist on the classic Manhole by having it. Once the platforms are raised, they stay up until something walks across it. Now that sure is a way to add a new flair to a very simple game. And the animations are much smoother. But that's just because the classic versions wanted to be accurate to the original style of the game, which was made by putting sprites on a screen that would get illuminated at different times, similar to a calculator. As you can see here, the farther you get, the more it speeds up and the more different characters hop on. For example, there was DK Jr. Now, we're gonna play the modern version of Fire. Now in this modern remake, you're saving people hopping out of Princess Peach's castle, getting tossing them in to a mushroom wagon. Now my real question is there a story behind the castle being on fire? Was it that dastardly King Koopa trying to invade? If it is, I sure hope Mario solves that problem. In this, the animations are much smoother, and there's a plethora of different things to carry, such as an egg. And when that egg cracks, a power star pops out. And Yoshi can also come out of the tower, even though I'm pretty sure he could just flutter jump into the cart by himself. Talk about being lazy, Yoshi. And even bombs pop out too. And Donkey Kong Jr. again. Now we're gonna play the modern version of Octopus. In this more modernized version, it has Mario going down to steal treasure from just a generic octopus. And when he goes back up, he gets to split the treasure with Princess Peach. I wonder if Princess Peach has her own cruise ship, or that's just a small fishing boat. I guess we'll never know. But compared to the original version I found while playing on my Game Boy Advance SP, this one controls a lot smoother and a lot more fluidly. And with the bonus addition of color. And who doesn't like a little bit of color? Now we're gonna play some modern oil. In this one, you get 2 buckets instead of just one, and you can spin them around to collect even more oil. My only question is, what happens when all of your buckets fill up and there's no room for the oil? Well, the answer is, you feed it to Yoshi. Now, even though Yoshi's a dinosaur, I don't think he should be drinking oil. That could cause some serious health problems, and we don't want that for our favorite green dinosaur. Now do we? As the game goes on, it kinda gets progressively harder. The oil drops in 2 places instead of 1, but it's still pretty easy to manage. Also, Bowser's the one making the oil drip. That jerk. At the end of some games, if you get a very high score, you can see the credits, full of the staff, and Mario and Luigi launching bombs full of fireworks into the night sky. You can also unlock fun little galleries full of modern and classic things, such as little animated images of Game & Watch games that were not included in the collection, and some games that were, and some more games that weren't. After sitting down for a little bit and playing it, I can say that this really is a collection of some of the best. That's why I give this a 4 out of 10. On September 10th, 1994, the very first CGI cartoon ever made was released, Reboot. Today, we aren't talking about Reboot, talking about the Donkey Kong Country cartoon. Yay! This show is bad. Very bad. Terrible even. That's why today we're looking at 2 episodes of this bad cartoon. The first episode we're going to be looking at is Kung Fu, a very bad pun. So, let's get into it. The episode starts off in a jungle where someone does Kung Fu on a poster of Donkey Kong, cutting it. Then we cut to Diddy, Cranky, and Candy Kong talking about the Congo Bongo DK fight, or whatever it's called, saying if he loses, he will no longer be king of Congo Bongo. Then we cut to DK talking to a banana like a weirdo.
Hey, little buddy, you're just in time to see me break my old record.
Number 58?
I wonder what my banana record is. I mean, bananas are pretty good for you. As long as you don't shove one into your eye, of course. Ow. After seeing what DK's doing, we go back to the Kremlings, who are talking about how they're gonna get the crystal coconut. Then, this it's not a guy, it's an ape. This ape walks in, starts singing and dancing, and it's bad. It's real bad.
My success is imminent. Kung Fu win.
Kung Fu. What is up with the Donkey Kong Country series of titles and puns? Specifically the second one. Diddy's Kong Quest? No. No! Yeah. Kung Fu. So, Donkey Kong, feeling dejected after not training, figures out what the 3 criteria for the challenge are. There's the test of strength, the test of brains, and the test of heart. Unfortunately, he's definitely gonna lose at the test of strength. So, Diddy and Candy try to help him. Back with the Kremlings, and the only scene that I genuinely found almost funny, Kung Fu practices his Kung Fu on targets with Crusher and Clump's head in the middle. Then we see DK training to be extra strong, but he's using an empty barrel. What a dum-dum. After that, Diddy tells him that he might have a plan. But then, we see King K. Rool trying to get Kung Fu to get good at the test of strength. Then, we see Cranky Kong trying to get Donkey Kong to do well at the test of strength. But Donkey Kong's stupid, so it doesn't. Then, we see Kung Fu teaching Crush and Clump math, which is also pretty funny. Then Candy Kong sings a love song about how there's power in your heart or something. It is not very good. Then we see that King K. Rool wants to replace Crush and Clump with Kung Fu. Then we see Diddy try to scare him away, but they all just laugh at him. But then Diddy goes to DK's house to tell DK his master plan on how he's gonna win. Then we see DK and Kung Fu go at it in a test of smarts. Unfortunately for our good pal Donkey Kong, Kung Fu wins, making him 1 over Donkey Kong. Next, Cranky wants to do the test of heart, but King K. Rool comes in and forces them to do the test of strength, which Donkey Kong loses. But then, there's a solar eclipse, and Kung Fu's afraid of the dark. Then all the Kremlings make fun of him, which, by the way, isn't very nice. But that was Diddy's secret plan, because when he was in King K. Rool's base, he turned off the lights and Kung Fu got super scared. Now, DK can finally get the upper advantage and defeat him in the test of strength. But DK won't do it, because DK is such a chill dude. By doing this, DK wins the test of strength and the test of heart, and staying the future ruler. And that's the end of that episode. How come they use the crystal coconut? Why don't they just use, like, the golden banana? Or the banana horde? Now on to the next episode, which is From Zero to Hero. We start off with Cranky Kong offering brain scans to all the residents of Congo Bongo. But his machine seems to be breaking down every single time he uses it. Even the Kremlings get their brains scanned. But when his machine breaks, Crusher steals the crystal coconut. He finally gets his machine back up right in time for Bluster to appear. Now, who's Bluster? Well, he only appeared in this show, and nobody likes him. He walks back out and starts flaunting to everyone there. But when they go inside to talk to Cranky, DK and Diddy find out that Cranky's machine is finally broken. But while standing outside, Bluster thinks that they are talking about him. So, to ponder over his new discovery, Bluster goes to his barrel factory and thinks about what people will think of him once he's gone. However, he realizes that if he doesn't start acting nice, everyone will remember him as a giant jerk. And now, it's time for the best song in the entire show. Bluster the Benevolent.
I will be remembered as a straight-up honest guy who will gladly give his life to save the average passerby.
I am not kidding when I say that I think that this is genuinely one of the only good songs in the entire show. It's actually pretty catchy and has some pretty interesting effects, such as Bluster going into space. In King K. Rool's lair, Crusher comes back with the crystal coconut, or so he thinks. But when he goes to give it to King K. Rool, he realizes that he lost it. So, he has to go back out and get it from the swamp where he lost it. And if he doesn't, there will be consequences. Then we see Bluster try to help Cranky Kong cross some minecart tracks. But once Bluster leaves, Cranky gets hit anyways. Then we see Bluster flying over Funky Kong's house, trying to find some problems to solve. And we cut to a very, actually pretty funny funeral scene where everybody goes up and talks about Bluster. This is one of the funniest scenes. There's like 3 in the entire show, but this one's actually pretty good. Then we go back to King K. Rool, wondering where Crush is, and Crusher finally has the crystal coconut. In the forest, Diddy and DK are talking when Bluster walks up and shows them his plans for his memorial statue. But when DK and Diddy try to tell him that he isn't gonna pass away, Bluster doesn't believe him and goes to be the biggest hero in all of Congo Bongo. So, Diddy and DK go to Cranky Kong to see if they can find some way to make Bluster stop thinking that he is going to no longer exist. So, DK and Diddy give him a magic cure that's actually just some cherry cola. But it's actually a potion that makes Bluster super duper strong. But it also gives him these very terrifying green eyes. So, once Bluster defeats King K. Rool, Bluster actually becomes a good hero. Then, everything's back to normal. And that's the end of this episode. The good guys win, and the bad guys lose. After sitting through those 2 episodes, and the rest of the DVD in my spare time, I can 100% confirm that this is the worst cartoon I have ever seen. That is why I give this show a single banana peel out of 10. Every single time I go to an arcade, I try to find one game. And that game is Galaga. That's what we're talking about. In 1981, the game Galaga was released. It was originally developed for the Namco Galaxian game board, but was then later changed to be released in arcades. The point of the game is to shoot oncoming alien spaceships, which to me look a lot more like bugs than they do spaceships. Like Coca-Cola. Space inspired. That was a Coca-Cola. Because of the high popularity of the game, Namco also made many sequels to the original, such as Galaga 2 for the Game Gear, a game which is pretty much the same as the original, just with slightly altered sprites and in higher quality, and it's also for the Sega Game Gear. Galaga on something else. Maybe it'll be better. Let's see here. Oh, no. No. Oh. Has Miss Pac-Man, great game. Not what we're looking for, though. No, once again, no. This might be Galaga. No, not Galaga. Oh, here it is. Galaga. Using the joystick on the plug-and-play, I can say that it feels kinda better than the NES controller, but the audio and sound doesn't really help. Also, no matter what I try, I can't get the double shifts, even though I know it's possible from this footage right here. Maybe I'm just doing it wrong, but to me, it just seems impossible. Every time I shoot it, I don't get the shift. This sure is weird. Another thing about Galaga is it's actually a sequel to the game Galaxian, which is nearly identical to Galaga, except there aren't any abductor ships. Also, the challenging stages add a nice rest between all the action of the game, allowing you to relax for a little bit before going into the next round. Come on! Darn it. You know what? If I can't beat him here on Earth, I'll have to go up there. I'll be right back. Whoa, I'm in space! I'm not feeling very well today. That's why we're going to the doctor. Dr. Mario. Let's get into it. Dr. Mario was released on July 27th, 1990 on the Famicom, Game Boy, and Nintendo Entertainment System. It was also later released in an arcade cabinet form. The cabinet was blue and was known as Versus Dr. Mario. In Dr. Mario, there are multiple settings you can choose before you start, such as the level you're on, the speed, and the music type. My personal favorite music choice is Fever. The objective in the game is to match 4 colored pills to a virus to clear it off of the board. You beat the level when all of the viruses are cleared off of the board. My personal favorite design for all the viruses is the blue one. I don't know why. I just kind of like how it looks. I think it looks pretty neat. It sold over 10 million copies across all platforms, and at one point was called the best Nintendo game ever. Some people compare it to Tetris, but I find that Tetris has a much more clean, refined style, as Dr. Mario has more of a kind of gritty feeling to it. Dr. Mario also has several very small little touches that I really like, such as the fact that the high score and the level, speed, and virus number are both on little clipboards with little pieces of paper. I always thought that was really cool. And you see the viruses because someone's holding like a little magnifying glass over them, which allows you to see them. And Dr. Mario's throwing the pills into a pill bottle, which doesn't make a whole bunch of sense. Why are there viruses inside of a pill bottle? But, you know, it's all part of the fun of the game. Dr. Mario also has a 2-player mode in which 2 players battle it out over who can win a best of 3 set of games. The game gets progressively harder with each level that passes, eventually getting to the point where the entire screen is filled with viruses from the get-go. Dr. Mario was also praised for its unique gameplay elements and the unique premise that the game follows. Dr. Mario has also been ported to numerous home and portable consoles, such as the DS, the Game Boy Advance as a part of the Nintendo Classics collection, and our next topic, the SNES. At release, it was ranked at number 143 on the Nintendo Power Chart. Well, here it is. It now features a versus computer mode as well. It still has all the same settings, such as the music type, the speed, and the virus level. Inside of it, it has some minor changes to the design, such as a new background, changing the colors of the clipboards, changing the colors of Dr. Mario itself, making the sign flash kind of like it's a neon sign, and making the magnifying glass green. Other than that, there aren't really that many differences between the NES original and it on the SNES. All it is basically just a visual upgrade with nothing else added. However, when this version released, it didn't sell very well because most consumers already had a version of Dr. Mario for either their Nintendo Entertainment System or their Famicom if they were in Japan, causing Dr. Mario on the SNES to not sell very well. However, the cartridge did not only include Dr. Mario, it also had 2 other games, Mixed Match, a kind of weird Tetris game, and Tetris, the normal version, but it also included a multiplayer versus mode and a versus computer mode. I've also noticed that the game is slightly harder than the original on NES. Now, I don't know if it's like a proven thing or anything, but that's just my personal findings. Next up is Dr. Mario 64, which adds many additional modes to the game, such as 1-player, 2-player, multiplayer, and versus computer. You can choose between 3 different levels of difficulty for the story and 2 different characters. In this one, there actually is a story in the game. The story is Dr. Mario is a doctor rushing around curing everyone with his special vitamins called Mega Vitamins. But then Wario and a new villain for this game, Mad Science Teen, try to take them. And then this game has a different style of play. The unique gimmick for this game is that all battles within the game are versus battles. Yup, from the very first one all the way to the very last, it's all versus levels. Now, I don't really like this, as I prefer just like endless levels. You just have to like reach a certain amount of score and then you win.
But I guess it does make more sense from a story perspective to have Mario facing other people. What I really don't get, though, is the timer. Why would you put a timer to see how long you've been fighting one enemy? Maybe there's a timeout feature that I just haven't found, because I'm just too good at Dr. Mario. Dr. Mario 64 was also the final Dr. Mario game released for the Nintendo 64. It was also later re-released alongside Panel de Pon and Yoshi's Cookie in a Japan-exclusive puzzle pack for the Nintendo GameCube. It was also released as one of the very first launch titles for the Nintendo 64 Online part of the Nintendo Online Expansion Pass. The game is also chocked full of references to Super Mario 64, the very first 3D Mario game, not including any games that Mario featured in on the Virtual Boy, of course. The references include the Power Stars being used to mark whether or not someone has won, Metal Mario appearing, and a lot of the voice clips used for Mario are taken directly from Super Mario 64. Another reference is a majority of the characters, except for Mario and Metal Mario, are from Wario Land 3. Isn't that interesting? Another fun fact is that when in marathon mode, holding L or R will increase the number of viruses that are on screen. And Dr. Mario 64 was also on the IQ. You know, Dr. Mario really has been on everything. Wonder what else it could be on. Dr. Mario on Game Boy? But isn't the whole point of the game to, use colors to figure out what ones you're supposed to match up? I need to take a look at this. Welp, this sure is Dr. Mario on the Game Boy. Well, you have all the same settings, but here there isn't really any color. I mean, they kinda tried to make it work by making two of them different brightnesses and the other one kind of like a checkerboarded one, but to me, this just hurts my eyes. Other than that, it's a slightly worse version of the NES game, where there's no magnifying glass, you're missing a whole scoreboard, you're missing the flashing Dr. Mario sign. It just overall isn't very good. But for the time that it was released in, it's pretty understandable that some people just wanted Dr. Mario on the go. You know? Dr. Mario for the Game Boy overall is fine, I guess. But I personally find it hard to watch and hard to play. Well, that sure was Dr. Mario on the Game Boy. You know, those germs sure are everywhere. And that's why I give Dr. Mario, as a game itself across the board, a 7 out of 10. That's right, a 7. I really like Dr. Mario. I think it has had a unique concept and is very fun. However, sometimes the controls just aren't very good.
Hey, what's up guys? It's me, Time Loop Productions, and the topic of today's video is my very first sponsor, Listenable. It's apparently an audiobook place. Just waiting to get the email for my free account, and then we'll, get into it. And I wasn't expecting anyone. here's the package. I guess they're sending me like a USB drive or something to listen to the audiobooks. I mean, hey, that just means I get to keep the files. These were in the box, but these aren't audio books. Today on Noah's audiobook review, vinyl audiobooks? So, yeah, these exist apparently. What I know about them is that Pac-Man Run for Fun came out in 1980, and Miss Pac-Man's Prize Pupil came out in 1981. They were made by Kid and Stuff, a company which made books on tape and vinyl for many companies, including Atari, Namco, McDonald's, and many more. So, since I don't own a vinyl record player and this one's missing its record, I think it's time for me to introduce you to the brand new Timely Productions series of video game audiobooks. Let's get into it. Pac-Man, Run for Fun. Hi everybody, this is Pac-Man, and this is your Pac-Man read-along book. Now every time you hear the Energizer sound, it means it's time to turn the page in your notebook. Now remember, when you hear the Energizer sound, turn the page. Banners are waving and crowds are cheering, for today is the day of the great race. The best runners in all the land have gathered together to compete in Pacville's first annual Run for Fun. These runners will be sprinting through the streets, down the tunnels, and around the countryside surrounding Pacville. People have already gathered at the starting line to cheer on their favorites. The favorite of all favorites is, of course, Pac-Man. Let us not forget, however, that amongst the competitors is one very, very fast ghost, appropriately named Speedy. Speedy is one of those goofy gang of ghosts that are always racing and chasing after Pac-Man. These ghosts would stop at nothing to make sure that Speedy wins the fun run, and proves once and for all that ghosts are better than Pac people. It's time for the race to begin. Wow, look at that. Pac-Man is already off to an early lead, but as suspected, Speedy is close on his trail. Down Main Street they run, past the city zoo, across the railroad tracks, and through the Tunaville Tunnel, all the while being cheered on by the excited spectators. I'm surprised that Speedy hasn't tried any of his dirty tricks. Oh, I think I've spoken too soon. Unless I'm mistaken, that weird-looking truck is being driven by that ghoulish ghost, Shadow. And look what's in the truck. Buckets of glue, fake signs, shovels, and even a one-ghost helicopter. This spells trouble. Trouble for Pac-Man. Meanwhile, back on the race course, the runners have reached the countryside, and as expected, Pac-Man is still in the lead. But where's Speedy? Why, he's lying under a tree, snickering and waving to the rest of the gang as they drive by in the truck. Shadow, having tracked down all of the illegal shortcuts, is heading onto a dirt road that will put him well in front of the runners. There it is, he yells to Bashful and Pokey. Shadow has spotted a signpost that informs the runners which direction to run. All runners turn right, reads the signpost, but Bashful leaps from the truck and hastily tacks up a fake sign that says, all runners turn left. Hurry up, Bashful. Get on the truck. We've got more dirty work to do, orders Shadow. They drive a short way down the road, and all three ghosts grab shovels from the truck and dig a big trap in the road. It's just the right size to catch Pac-Man. Don't forget to cover the trap with leaves and branches so Pac-Man can't see it, warns Bashful. While the ghosts' ghastly plans should be clear to us by now, they're trying to trick Pac-Man into running the wrong way so will fall right into their nasty trap. Now where are those ghosts headed? Why, they're heading for the last bend before the finish line, and they're taking the gallons of glue and spreading it across the highway. If Pac-Man makes it past our fake sign and our terrific trap, he'll never make it out of this sticky mess, says Bashful. Having successfully gummed up this project, Pokey jumps into the one ghost helicopter and zooms off. Pokey decides he should make one last check of their dirty work. Boy, you can't even see the trap, he chuckles to himself, and sure enough, our fake sign is still there. But as he revs the engines to fly away, the wind from the propeller blows that fake sign right off. Speedy, who by now is sound asleep, doesn't even hear the sound of the helicopter approaching, but Pokey knows a way to get Speedy's attention. He drops a huge hook at the end of a rope right on Speedy's noggin. Ow! Exclaims Speedy. Hurry up, yells Pokey. Grab the hook and let's get going. Speedy grabs the hook and Pokey flies to the signpost where he thinks the fake sign is still tacked up. Let's see, Pokey wonders. Our fake sign says all runners turn right. That means we really need to go left. With that, he banks his helicopter to the left and tells Speedy he will drop him gently in a leafy area he has spotted on the road. What he doesn't realize is that the leafy area is their own terrific trap. Goodbye, Speedy. Help! Get me out of here! Yells a slightly battered Speedy. A little upset by this unexpected event, Pokey rather hastily drops the hook down to Speedy, again hitting him, you guessed it, right on the noggin. As Speedy is being pulled from the trap, Pac-Man is turning right at the signpost and zooming towards the finish line. Those ghosts will have to hurry if they're going to catch up with Pac-Man. Pokey does some fancy flying and finds a spot at the bend before the finish line, where no one will see him drop Speedy off. Speedy lets go of the hook, drops to the road, and begins to race towards the finish line. But wait a minute! He's getting nowhere fast. Those goof-up ghosts, they've done it again. Pokey has dropped Speedy right into the glue trap. And speaking of our hero, here he comes now. He's almost to the patch of glue. Will he see it in time? He does. And with an incredible jump like only Pac-Man can perform, he leaps over the glue and crosses the finish line. Once again, the winner. The mayor's presenting Pac-Man with a gold trophy filled with cherries and berries, bananas and pears. But trophies and prizes are not the main reason why you should compete in sports. As Pac-Man would say, it's not important that you always win, but it is important that you always play fair. Don't just run for the glory or the gold. Run for your health, and run for fun. Alright guys, The second one will be up in a day or two.
You need to upload a video.
Why? You're losing large amounts of views because you haven't uploaded in over this long. Well, it's not like I have anything to talk about right now. Well, I sure do wonder what this video is going to be about then. Super Mario Bros. Wonder, a game that stops being called new. Like New Super Mario Bros., New Super Mario Bros. Wii, New Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Mario Bros. U, and Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. Nintendo made 5 of the exact same game. Now that's a lot of games. And the reason is that Nintendo was lazy. That's why Super Mario Bros. Wonder is so different. They wanted to make a game to really show that the new Soup era was over for good. Besides the new art style, how is this game different than the new Super Mario Bros. Ones, you ask? Well, there's new abilities and power-ups. All these power-ups were in the new Super Mario Bros. Franchise. There's a decent amount, right? Guess how many come back? 3. 3 that have always been in Mario games. These core 3 are the only ones from the new Super Mario Bros. Games that stayed. The first of the 3 brand new power-ups is the Elephant Apple. Getting it will turn you into an elephant that allows you to break blocks with your trunk and smack Goombas into space. You can also use it to pick up water in your snout and water plants for a reward. Next up is the Drill Mushroom. Getting the Drill Mushroom puts a big old drill on your head, and it lets you drill into the ground. And you can jump through blocks or ground pound onto them to break through and get secrets hidden inside. And the third final new power-up, and my personal favorite, is the Bubble Flower. This new power-up allows you to shoot bubbles that you can not only use to create cool bubbles, but to bounce on and trap enemies in. Another fun addition is the new badge abilities. There's 3 different kinds, and today we're going over 6 of them. There's the parachute cap, the wall climb jump, the floating high jump, the coin reward, the safety bounce, and the jet run. These badges can do a lot of different things to alter the way you play. The parachute cap can let you glide long distances, and the safety bounce can get you out of a sticky situation. First, we're going to be looking at the parachute cap. When you have the parachute cap action badge equipped, while in midair, you can press R or shake your controller to open your hat and float slowly downward. It also works really well to cover large distances of area, whilst also not falling. The secret is to redeploy the cap as soon as you start falling down faster to get extra distance. Next up is the wall climb jump, which you can use to scale tall objects, because when you jump against a wall and then press B again, you can jump up straight, but only once. Then you perform a normal wall jump. The third and final action badge is the floating high jump. The floating high jump allows you to jump higher than usual and momentarily float. And this works for every single kind of jump, from your regular ones to your wall jumps. Next up, and the first of the 2 boost badges, is the coin reward. This one gives you 3 extra coins for defeating enemies. See right here, I just got 9 coins from getting those smelly Goombas. Next up is the safety bounce. This one lets you bounce back out of pits, lava, or poison swamps just 1 time per fall. And the one and the very last badge that we're going to talk about is an expert badge. It's called the Jet Run. It makes it so you're always running at super fast speeds. You can even do a jump in the air because you hover for a little bit, then you can jump again. And you can run over 2 block wide gaps. The story starts off with Mario showing up in the Flower Kingdom along with all of his friends on an invite from Prince Florian to visit their kingdom. And you got all your pals. You got Luigi, Yellow Toad, Blue Toad, Peach, all the colors of Yoshi, and that sneaky Nabbit. Then, as Prince Florian is talking to Mario and his pals, Bowser and Magic Koopa rush in and touch the Wonder Flower, turning Prince Florian's castle into Bowser. So now, Mario and all his friends are going to help Prince Florian find all the Wonder Seeds to take down that evil Bowser. Now you're probably asking, Noel, what's a Wonder Seed? And I'm glad you asked. Wonder Seeds are the main collectible in Super Mario Wonder. You need them to unlock new levels and progress in the story. You can get them by completing the wonder effects in each level, and by finishing a level. And sometimes there are secret exits to levels, so be sure to be on the watch for a flagpole with a red flag. And they're color-coded to what world you're currently in. The blue ones are for Pipe Rock Plateau, the teal ones are for Fluff Puff Peaks, the pink ones are for Shining Falls, the yellow ones are for the Sun-Baked Desert, the green ones are for the Fungi Mines, the purple ones are for the Deep Magma Bog, and the orangey ones are for the Petal Isles. And if you make it to the special world, those are the white ones. Flower coins. Flower coins are found throughout levels, and the 10 flower coins kind of replace the star coins from the new Super Mario Bros. Series. They're used to unblock certain paths in worlds and to buy items from the Poplin shops. And with all that being said, this is genuinely the most fun 2D Mario game I have ever played. Close second is probably Super Mario World, my personal favorite 2D Mario game. But this game, it's hard in some parts. This is probably the most challenging Mario game I've played, but it's also the most fun. The wonder effects add in a unique style of gameplay never really before seen in a 2D Mario game. There's multiple different characters you can choose from, some of which change the way you even play the game. This game is what I would call the perfect 2D Mario game. That's why I give this game a perfect 10 out of 10. This game is perfect for someone who's played all the Mario games or for someone who's played none of them. This is genuinely the best introduction and revival of 2D Mario games that Nintendo could possibly do. I don't think that there's any way that Nintendo ever gets better than this. So, if you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time.
Hey!
Hey, man. Took me a while to find you after that big disappearing act you pulled, but, I'm here. What you doing? Oh, working on my next masterpiece. But that isn't a paintbrush. What is that? The Super NES mouse. What else would I be painting with?
you know, Mario Paint. Mario Paint? Mario Paint. Arguably the weirdest Mario game ever made. Apart from that one. Made in July of 1992, Mario Paint came with the game and the Super Nintendo mouse. And since the mouse was a trackball mouse, it also came with a mouse pad, which was a gray piece of plastic with the Nintendo logo in the bottom right-hand corner. The mouse was only used in 32 other North American titles from that point on. However, it is most widely known for its use in Mario Paint. There's a variety of modes within Mario Paint, including a painting mode, where you're given a blank canvas and many tools to paint whatever you want. And there's even a fly swatting minigame, where you have to swat 100 flies with only 3 lives. As the game progresses, it gets harder and harder to swat the flies, and new types of fly are introduced. You can also get more lives when they fly onto the screen. You just gotta whack them. There is also a coloring book mode, where you're given an outline of a picture, which you then have to paint in, using different tools and techniques, including a paint bucket, which immediately fills the selected area with whatever color you want. Another key feature of Mario Paint is the music composer, allowing you to make, well, music. Here, have a listen to one of the included demo tracks. The final mode I want to talk about today is the animation mode, which allows you to make very simple animations. I mention this because it's one of the features that was later expanded on in the Mario Artist Collection for the Nintendo 64 disk drive, which was only ever released in Japan. This consisted of 4 separate games that contained most of the features from Mario Paint on the SNES, but expanded upon into much more useful creative tools. But what is the legacy of Mario Paint? The legacy of Mario Paint is seen in many other Nintendo products, such as the WarioWare franchise, or Super Mario Maker, or even Mario Odyssey with the costumes. The legacy of Mario Paint is the legacy of Nintendo. Nintendo originally started as a playing card company, and then they went into toys, and then they did a whole bunch of other stuff. But at the heart of Nintendo, there's always been fun, and that's what Mario Paint is. It's fun. But I've talked enough about what the game means and what it is. What do I think about the game? So yeah. I really liked it. I think the game is fun, you know? It's cool. It's enjoyable. Yeah. I got a new setup here. You can't really see it because you're at one fixed angle on a tripod, but got a new setup here. I moved to a new house, which is nice. I got new setup, new everything. It's gonna be cool. How do I pad the runtime with this video?
The next video I'm working on is about plug and plays. So I got this Namco one, and another one that's over there, so you can't see it. I also working on more Game Boy game reviews. Got Game Boy Color and Atomic Purple. That's pretty cool, right? But yeah, I really like Mario Paint. I think that the version, or I guess not the, I guess the sequel on the Nintendo 64 disc drive looks a lot better, and I feel like it's better than the original in a lot of ways. Of course, I can't play that because I don't own a Nintendo 64 disc drive. Yeah, but it looks a lot better. It looks a lot more easier to use, a lot more fun. But the base game itself, it's neat. It's cool. I really like it. I wish Nintendo did more things like it. I wish they did more Mario Paint games. I wish, like, there's a Mario Paint game for the Switch. That way we could get, like, a good stylus for the Switch. That way Mario Maker 2 is easier to use. And other games. But I really wish that, you know, Mario Paint stopped being not forgotten, because it isn't. There's all those references. I wish Mario Paint continued as a game and not something that they reference.
It's 1997. Air Bud is in theaters. You're eating a Domino's pizza and drinking some Mountain Dew with 3 of your friends and playing Mario Kart 64.
And today, that's what we're talking about.
Mario Kart 64 is the second game in the Mario Kart franchise, with the original coming out on August 27th, 1992 for the Super Nintendo and only being 2 players. Let's get right into it and talk about the packaging. The box shows what accessories are compatible with the game and how many players. Inside the box is the manual and the game cartridge. Now, if you were paying really close attention in the beginning, you may have noticed that my game cartridge looks different than the one I just showed on screen. That is because my cartridge is for the Japanese version of the game. Next up is the game modes, starting off with Grand Prix. In Grand Prix, you pick one of 4 cups, each cup consisting of 4 races, and race with 8 computer-controlled players. You have to get within the top 4 in every race, or else you're out. Next up is time trials. You pick one of the 16 courses in the game and try to beat it as fast as you can. You can do it with any character, and you start with 3 mushrooms to help you get the fastest time possible. My favorite course to time trial is actually Luigi Raceway. I actually have a secret playlist of my best times on Luigi Raceway hidden somewhere here on my channel. Go check it out. Next up is Battle Mode, where you and up to 4 of your friends duke it out in balloon battles, where you have to pop your opponent's balloons and be the last man standing. There's a variety of maps to choose from, including a skyscraper, a big donut, and a colorful raceway. There's also versus mode, but that's just Grand Prix again, but with multiplayer. So I'm not going to talk about that. That's boring. Next up is the courses. There's 4 cups, each with 4 courses. There's the Mushroom, Flower, Star, and Special Cup, and we're starting with the Mushroom Cup. The Mushroom Cup has Luigi's Raceway, Moo Moo Farm, Koopa Troopa Beach, and Calamari Desert. Next up is the Flower Cup. The Flower Cup has Toad's Turnpike, Frappe Snowland, Choco Mountain, and Mario Raceway. Next up is the Star Cup. The Star Cup
has Wario Stadium, Sherbert Land, Royal Raceway, and Bowser's Castle. And last but certainly not least, the Special Cup. The Special Cup has DK's Jungle Parkway, Yoshi Valley, Banshee Boardwalk, and Rainbow Road. Overall, the selection of courses has a ton to pick from. From deserts with trains to places up above the stars, you can really race anywhere. My top 3 are Luigi Raceway, Calamari Desert, and Rainbow Road. I really like how Rainbow Road kind of feels like a credit sequence for the game with how long it is. Anyways, let's get on to the racers. There's 3 kinds of racers: speedsters, all-rounders, and heavyweights. Let's start off with the speedsters. The speedsters are Toad, Yoshi, and Peach. They have a high speed but low weight stat, meaning they can go fast, but they'll get knocked around by larger racers. Next up is the all-rounders, Mario and Luigi. These racers are pretty average. Nothing special at all, really. They have average speed, weight, and turning, making them good for beginners, but outclassed by faster and heavier characters. And finally, the heavyweights: Bowser, Donkey Kong, and Wario. These racers have a low top speed, but weigh a ton, making them great for pushing other racers off of the course. When I'm playing the game, I tend to stick with the speedsters, because even though they weigh less and can be knocked off of courses a lot more easily than all the other racers, with their speed bonus, you can get miles ahead of the competition where it won't be a worry. My favorite character out of them is Toad, but that's just because Toad is my favorite Mario character. Next up is the items, starting with the banana. The banana you throw behind you or in front of you, or you can use it to block incoming items. If you run into it, you spin out. There's different kinds, 1 up to 5. They're really nothing special. Next up is the green shell. The green shell is a projectile that you shoot forwards and bounces around the track. It doesn't really go anywhere specific, it just kind of bounces around. You can get 1 green shell or 3 green shells. Next up is the red shell. The red shell is like the green shell, but it's a homing shell, which means it tracks on to the player in front of you and hunts them down. It also comes in the 1 and 3 variety. Next up is the fake item block. This block looks like an item block, but with an upside down question mark. And if you run into it, you're in for a bad time. It kicks you upwards into the air, making you fall behind all the other racers. Next up is the lightning bolt. The lightning bolt shrinks down your opponents and makes them able to be ran over by any other racer. Shrinking them down also slows them down, so this is good if you want to gain a huge lead. Next up is the Boo. The Boo can steal an item from a nearby player, giving it to you. Next up is the Power Star. The star makes you temporarily invincible, making it so you cannot be hit by any item no matter what. Before we get to the most powerful item in the game, we have to talk about the mushrooms. The basic mushroom gives you a brief boost of speed, great for getting past other racers. They come in the single and 3 variety. And there's the golden mushroom, which gives you an unlimited amount of uses of the regular mushroom for a brief period of time. This one's really good if there's a shortcut coming up and you need to build up a ton of speed in a short period of time.
Last and certainly not least is the blue shell. This shell hunts down the player in first, taking out whoever gets in its way to number 1. This is really good if you're stuck in 4th or 5th and you want to get rid of the competition. So, we've talked about the courses, the racers, and the items, but what do I think about the game? Overall, I really like the game, although it does have its flaws. The visuals are getting pretty dated, and the game isn't exactly built on a strong foundation. There's glitches everywhere that, while are fun, can make the game a little unbalanced. And speaking of unbalanced, the AI racers rubber band and sometimes even drive straight through walls. However, even with all its flaws, I'm glad to say that this game is an 8 out of 10. Happy holidays, everyone! It's that time of year yet again. Holiday movies playing on TV, hot chocolate in every cup. But in video games, there aren't really a lot of Christmas levels, you know? Occasionally you'll see Santa Claus as a character in a game, but there's never a level all about Christmas. But do you know what there is? Ice levels. How about we open a present? Let's see what's in here. It's Super Mario All-Stars. You know, in here, they have something very similar to a Christmas level, just without the lights. That's why, in today's holiday special, we're talking about ice levels. That's right, Super Mario All-Stars. Although, that's not quite the thing we're looking at. We're looking at Super Mario Bros. 2 as a part of Super Mario All-Stars. And that's because Super Mario Bros. 2 has the very first ice level in a Mario game. However, it shows most of the key components that would go on to show in other ice levels across all of video games, such as special enemies for the climate, the controls being a little slippery, because, you know, snow and ice are slippery, and my personal favorite part, everything is kinda blue. You know how snow is historically blue, not any other color that definitely isn't blue. Now, this one I do understand, as you kind of want to shade stuff, so I understand why they changed this. However, it still looks a bit funny to me to see snow be like ice blue when, you know, ice is blue. Alright, so we've talked about the older ice levels. Let's see if we can find something a little newer. Let's go with you. I think I'll save this one for later. This one, though, this is one I want to see what's inside. Wrapping paper ripped. Oh, it's Super Mario 64! I think there's a couple ice levels in this one, right?
That's right, Super Mario 64 actually has 2 ice levels. The first being Cool Cool Mountain. Cool Cool Mountain actually has all of the features that I talked about earlier. It has fancy special music, special enemies for the climate, slippery controls because it's icy, and everything is kinda blue. The slippery controls are really evident when you're going down a slide, which is arguably one of the main focal points of this level, that and probably the Lost Baby Penguin. But other than this, there's also the second ice level, Snowman's Land. Snowman's Land consists of an area with a giant snowman in the middle, surrounded by a mountain that forms his body, with icy plains on each side and a frozen pond that Mario can get trapped in, as well as a floating platform with an ice bully on it, one of the many frozen enemies that are exclusive to the ice levels of this game. Another thing included is a killer snowman enemy called a Mr. Blizzard. Watch out for him as he throws snowballs at you, which can give you lots of knockback, and he's overall just kind of very annoying. This one really has a great wintry vibe to it with the igloo. There's an igloo you can go into. It's really cool, as well as an ice maze that you kind of have to look through because there's ice. It's really cool, trust me.
Alright, so we've seen Mario explore some 3D ice levels, but are there ice levels in any non-Mario games? Looks like we'll have to see. In here, maybe? I got a good feeling about this one. It's a GameCube game. I love the GameCube. It's The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess!
Snow Peak Ruins are one of the many temples in The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. The Snow Peak Ruins really represent the slippery physics and the special enemies, but I really want to look at the puzzles here. They use the slippery mechanics of the ice to create really challenging and fun puzzles that you have to solve by sliding blocks around on a grid. This was genuinely one of my favorite parts of the game when I played it, just because of how hard it makes you think, and it's just so much fun. I really like it.
So, it turns out there are ice levels in non-Mario games, but what about non-platformers? Could there really be such a thing as an ice level in, I don't know, a racing game? Seems a bit weird to me. Well, said we'd save this one for later. Might as well open it now. Oh, it's Mario Kart 64! I guess there really might be some ice levels in racing games.
Super Mario Kart 64 has something that I haven't talked about yet, which is the music. In here, it shows another very good quality that ice levels have, which is the music in them. It's always really, really good. Take a listen. See, the bouncy sound of it really just adds a sense of winter enchantment, you know? This sounds like the kind of music you would, think in your head was playing while you're sledding down, like, a really big hill. It's just really cool.
Okay, so we've seen ice levels in platformers, The Legend of Zelda, which is sometimes a platformer, and even a racing game. What else could there even be? Wonder what's in this one. Oh, it's a Wii game! It's Mario Kart Wii! But we already talked about ice levels in a Mario Kart. What else could there be, you know? What else could there be to say? What Mario Kart Wii brings to the table for ice levels is the theming. In Mario Kart Wii, arguably the most iconic ice level is DK's Snowboard Cross. And they also have N64 Sherbet Land. But my point is, the theming is perfect. You got an ice cave, you got a ski resort. It's just so perfect for an ice level. With DK's Snowboard Cross, you really just get the vibe of having a good time at like a ski resort. And then with Sherbet Land, you get the feeling like you're like an Arctic explorer going around exploring these ancient caves. It's just really, really good. All right, we're down to our very last present. Wonder what's inside. Okay, just a normal present. Wonder if I can hear what's inside. Sounds like a disc. Must be for a newer console. Wait a minute. This isn't new. It's new Super Mario Bros. Wii. New Super Mario Bros. 3 is a great example of what the modern ice level is. The slippery controls have been turned down a bit since most players don't really like them. However, the unique visual and style themes still persist today. Even in a game like New Super Mario Bros. Wii, that, even at the time, was a bit stale. Well, today's really shown me that ice levels are everywhere, but mostly in Mario games. Well, I think it's time I wrap it up here and drink some milk, eat some cookies, and head off to bed so the big man can do his work. Happy holidays, everyone! And to everyone else, have a Merry Christmas. I'll see you guys next time.